What's up, everyone? I hope you're doing well today. This is Raphael Garcia on Friday, August 23rd, 2019, and I'm here for episode number 29 of the Let's Talk Wrestling podcast. First and foremost, I always want to thank you for taking the time to listen to our content, to subscribe to our YouTube channel, and following us across social media. If you do not, please hit that red subscribe button to catch all of the content that we put up each and every week. We have this weekly wrestling show that usually comes out Wednesdays or Fridays, along with our Thursday MMA podcast where myself and Shawan Humes talk about all the things going on in the sport from a week to week basis. So check us out on YouTube to catch all of our content there. You can also follow us on Instagram and Twitter at MMA Ratings Net to catch everything that we're talking about there. Myself, you can hit me over at rgarcia_sports where I'm rambling about professional wrestling, mixed martial arts, and everything in between. So again, thank you for taking the time to listen to this content today. Please be sure to hit that like button, share it across your channels, and help us get more followers as our audience base is slowly growing. But with that finished, I want to talk about a couple of different topics that I have on mind today. It was another good week in professional wrestling. I am actually looking at writing a piece about whether or not AEW has awoken the sleeping lion that is the WWE, because in the last 3 weeks, per se, their content has gotten a lot better. We had a pretty strong SmackDown and Raw this week. I don't think there was anything particularly wrong, too super wrong with them, as we've seen in past episodes. Buddy Murphy continues to get over. This week we have him versus Mustafa Ali, which is last year. Their 205 Live matches were probably some of the best that ever happened in the industry, or best that happened that year in the industry. And now we're going to get them on SmackDown. I just hope that they get enough time to do their thing. But we have Buddy Murphy, the Roman Reigns storyline. I mean, what went down on Tuesday was pretty much stupid, per se. It was more like in a comical fashion. I don't know where they go with this storyline. I was hoping that they had Luke Harper under the blanket. I'm hoping Luke Harper gets involved in this storyline. I think he probably will. But it keeps you watching week to week. It keeps you wondering what's going to go on, what's going to happen. And they've kind of cut out some of the hokiness that they were getting involved in early in the storyline. So I'm happy to see that. What else did we get? We got the continuing storyline around the New Day versus RKO and the Revival. I like that group. I mean, I get why they put them together. I see how it works. You know, the Revival had history with the New Day when they first came up to the main roster, so there's that. I'm telling you, I just do not want to see Randy Orton to be the one to take the title off of Kofi Kingston. It could be anybody else, except for Shane McMahon. It could be anybody else, but please do not allow it to happen. Let Kofi get that win over him. Get that win back from a decade ago, from when Randy Orton was holding him down. I don't want that situation. I mean, we've seen so many other guys get held down by white men in this industry, and I don't want to see it happen one more time, especially not with this story and not with the positive aspect of the story that's still kind of swelling within me whenever I see him with that belt. And even beyond that, you know, I listen to a bunch of other podcasts on a weekly basis, listen to a lot of wrestling content, and I'm actually getting to a space now where I can listen to a lot of content by people of color, which is super important because you want to catch audiences outside your own purview. I personally want to catch them within my own purview as well, but it's interesting listening to how people are talking about Kofi Kingston's run, because there's a certain contingent of people that hate the idea that he has the title, and you hear it whenever they talk about him. I mean, they consistently talking about how he sucks as a champion and putting the onus of the bad ratings solely on him instead of spreading it out, because he's not the only champion. He's not the only individual that's on television. Remember, just like Bobby Roode isn't in control of his own booking, Kofi Kingston is not in control of his own booking either. So it's funny how the rules consistently change from one person to another. And I think there's a bit of unconscious biases when you look at the narratives that are being wrapped around Kofi Kingston's WWE Championship run. But again, I'm pleased with the 4 months that we've seen him as champion. I mean, let it run until the Rumble. Let it run until Survivor Series. Let it run. I mean, just let it run. actually believing that this was going to result in the New Day breaking up with Big E becoming the heel that takes the title off of him. I still think that's a possibility. That still could happen. There's plenty of time for that to happen. I would be excited to see that happening as well, because I believe Big E deserves his opportunity as well, because he's been putting in work and he's gotten so much better than when he was that guy working with AJ Lee all those years ago. So there could be an even better or a continuation of the positive storyline out of this, of another black man getting an opportunity to run with the title. But that's neither here nor there. That's a show and a conversation within all of its own right. But this week was some good WWE content. If you have time over the weekend to sit down and catch some of the shows, I suggest you do, because it's, you can catch them on Hulu, catch the hour-and-a-half versions, and quickly flip through the shows without any problem. But I have 2 topics to talk about this week. Not a whole lot. I don't want to bog everybody down. So this is a Friday. You should be out enjoying your weekend. I'm actually about to head out to enjoy my weekend. It's my frat brother's birthday, so it should be a good time for shenanigans. But there are 2 topics I wanted to talk about before I move on. And the first one is obviously one that everyone's been talking about all week, where we have NXT is moving to the USA Network. This was supposed to be announced on Monday Night Raw, at least according to a bunch of insiders, that was the original plan. But instead, on Tuesday, WWE announced that the move is going to occur starting, I believe, October 18th. And let me make sure that's the right day. Go back real quick. Yes, I believe October 18th, 2 weeks before AEW All Out debuts on TNT in Washington, D.C. I will be there for that historic night. But NXT is moving to USA for 2 hours. Now, while WWE may claim that it's not counter-programming, this is the almost the exact definition of counter-programming. The same way they did with Evolve in their show, I think that was last month. People can say what they want, but that was clearly counter-programming there as well. The same thing's happening here. And me personally, I'm not quite sure how I feel about this yet. We have a brand in NXT that I think is very enjoyable. The 1 hour Wednesday shows on the network they're not must-see wrestling content for me, but it's wrestling content that's there when I want to see it, that I enjoy consuming. Do I think that moving to 2 hours is a good thing? I believe it is. When you look at the depth of talent that they have on that roster, it's difficult to get everyone in a 2 hour format. However, SmackDown is also 2 hours. SmackDown has struggled for a long time to get everybody on TV. We haven't seen Liv Morgan since she lost to Charlotte, I don't believe. I don't think we've seen Asuka and Kairi Sane either. So there is still a struggle to get people on television enough to fit what they have within that very deep talent pool. The NXT roster isn't as deep, but they definitely have some people there that you could expect to benefit from this. I wrote a piece this week that came out yesterday about the top 5 names that should, just in my opinion, that should benefit from being a part of NXT and being a part of the show leaping to USA. You can go and catch that over on Daily DDT. And I overall, I think this is a positive step, but I do have some considerations that need to be talked about as well, because on one hand, you may claim that this isn't counter-programming, and you being leadership within the WWE, they may claim that this isn't counter-programming, which is fine. But what happens the minute that AEW gets more viewers than NXT? Because for 2 weeks, people are going to be tuning into NXT those first 2 weeks. But once October 2nd comes, those numbers are going to fluctuate. If AEW is getting, let's say, 600 to 800K viewers every week, and that's beating out what's going on NXT, how does that impact the perception of that platform within the WWE brand? I mean, me personally, to be honest, AEW is going to be live, NXT is going to be live, but NXT is available on the network Thursday. I can wait a day. I mean, I already wait a day sometimes to watch Raw and SmackDown because I teach martial arts on Monday evenings, and sometimes I'm doing things Tuesday evening. So if I can catch it on early. I may sit down early on weekdays to watch it before going to work. I may spend part of my Saturday watching it, or my Friday night watching it as well. Like due to platforms like Hulu and the WWE Network, you don't have to sit down and catch things when they occur. You can sit back, you can catch the spoilers across various media channels, and then go back and watch it later. That is a benefit of the time that we live in today. So if you told me that I had to pick between AEW and NXT and watching them live, best believe I'm going to go with AEW for now, and I'm going to flip over to NXT on Thursdays and watch that there. It's that simple to me. And I think that is going to have an impact on the way people consume this product, which is in turn going to have an impact on the perception of that product as well within the WWE. Now, the question that becomes is, what happens then? Are they looking at this as a lost leader? Are they just trying to chip away at the momentum that AEW is growing? We're going to talk about that in a second as well, too. Are they just trying to chip away at that number? Or is this just a lost leader? They're just trying to put content out there to catch more attention to their product. We know that NXT has been better for the most part than the main shows, Raw and SmackDown. We know that the show has been better from a pay-per-view. Like, the takeovers have been amazing. This last one, the Io Shirai Candice LeRae match, blew the doors off the arena for me. Dream, Dunn, and Strong was also good. The other matches, they were good, but this wasn't the best NXT takeover event. However, it's still usually better than a lot of the other content that is put out by WWE on a week-to-week basis. So there's that. But you have to wonder, if this show doesn't get the numbers that leadership within WWE wants, leadership meaning Vince McMahon, what impact does that have on the long-term viability of the brand? Does that mean he's going to step in and begin to have more say? Does that mean that he wants to be a bigger part of creative? Because we all know what type of impact that's had on WWE and Raw and SmackDown. We've seen what type of impact that's had. We've seen, hell, there was a piece that came out this week that said the reason why Baron Corbin was getting such a big the push that he was getting, is because Vince McMahon believes women would be attracted to him, which just blew my mind. That isn't a shot at Baron Corbin's physical stature or physical, basis or whatever. That's not a shot at that. It's a shot that out of all the talented individuals on the roster, that's what he made his stance around. That's where he stuck his stick in the ground. Excuse me. And that it just blew my mind that in 2019 we're still having these conversations with a 73-year-old man. That's neither here nor there. No one wants to see him have that type of impact on NXT as well. So I understand why fans are apprehensive about this change. I listened to a video on what's that platform? What Culture Wrestling, talking about this and why people should be sad because NXT as they know it is now dead. And that's not always a bad thing. Things change. Things shift. Change isn't always good. Change isn't always bad, but it's definitely hard. It's definitely hard for people who like their thing, whatever that thing may be, in one set way, shape, or form. So there's that. We don't know how this is going to play out for the long term. So we have that point there. Then we have, hold on one second. We have, what does this mean for those on AEW roster? I think that this goes I think that this is very beneficial to them. I think that all the stars on the roster have an opportunity to strongly benefit from this opportunity, and I think that we'll see more talented individuals on the roster. I'm thinking like already off the top of my head, Damian Priest and Keith Lee, guys like that. Donovan Novak, whatever his name is, I can't pronounce his name. Eric Bugenhagen, whatever they're calling him now. Guys like that are going to get more shine. Vanessa Bourne, Aaliyah, I think they'll get more shine. Io Shirai, we already know she's going to be a star, or she is a star per se. She can deliver. I hope that she benefits as well from this too, and I hope she doesn't get the Oscar or Kairi Sane outcome where she's kind of like pushed to the sideline or the Shinsuke Nakamura. But that's neither here nor there. That's a piece within its own right. And the final question I wanted to ask is, what does this mean for AEW? And I'm not quite sure right now. They're tweeting out that they're not scared to bring it on, et cetera, et cetera. And I mean, they should respond that way. But as I'm writing about it, as I'm going to begin writing about it, you have to wonder if they've woken a sleeping beast in a sense. Because WWE has begun to do things that make it seem like they're not playing games. Like telling or making it so that they're contracted, independent contractors, I'm not going to say employees, they're not employees, can no longer appear on televised independent shows. You have that popping up. Then you have them locking down more independent talent in NXT deals, such as ACH, such as Swerve, such as who was the Martinez? I can't remember the Martinez woman that they just signed. They've been signing a lot of talent over and over again. You see it almost every month. Then there was also the rumor that they were looking into purchasing Fight TV, which is one of the platforms that broadcasts AEW and their pay-per-views and a bunch of other independent content as well. So there's that. AEW may have awoken a sleeping beast that has a lot of capital to do a lot of different things. So let's see what the long-term impact is and how it hits AEW, and if we can look back and say if this really was a threat from the start. But as far as I'm concerned, as far as the fans and the wrestlers should be concerned, more wrestling is a better thing. More good wrestling is a better thing. We've seen AEW probably, 5 shows now, I think, 4 shows. We've seen what they've put out, and that content has been widely enjoyable. We don't know what the television is going to look like. I hope that it is not a step backwards to like the hokiness stuff that you see on Being the Elite. I hope it's a little bit. I hate to use the term professional, but I definitely hope it's a little bit more professional than that. So there's that piece, but we don't know what that television looks like yet. So we kind of have to wait and see until October 2nd. But this is an exciting time for everyone that's involved, and I hope we all get to take advantage of that. So the second topic I wanted to talk about today, and I probably won't be on this too long, is news about All Out. And All Out is set for next Saturday, which I will be watching, probably doing a post-event recap after the show Saturday night. But what we got is that Jon Moxley, there was news that broke this week about him dealing with an elbow injury, and it was kind of like, okay, well, what's going on with that? But it seems like that elbow injury has turned into MRSA. Now, if you've ever done any type of sport, especially one where you quote unquote get dirty, like ridiculously dirty, like grappling, football, soccer, anything along those lines, you know about staph and MRSA. You know that staph is something you don't want to deal with, but MRSA is the shit that no one wants. It's what kills you. That you'll be alive and healthy 1 minute, 6 hours later you're dead. So that's that. And it comes to find out Moxley's been dealing with MRSA, so now he's out of All Out. And since he's out, that means his match with Kenny Omega is off. Probably one of the better built matches, the one that people were looking forward to the most. It's probably that one. I think the Shawn Spears Cody Rhodes match is on that card too, and then you also have Jericho and Adam Hangman Page. This is definitely one of the big 3 draws, but AEW fucking came out of the block with the replacement because Pac is the guy that's stepping in. Now, I don't know about you, but Pac is, to me, he's one of the guys who kicked off this new age of professional wrestling free agency when he just walked out of WWE because he didn't want to deal with Enzo Amore. He didn't like the direction his character was going in. He took that bastard storyline and he ran with it because he sat out, he sat home, and now he's out there getting paid. Now, before I go on from this, remember that all you people who like to hate on what Sasha Banks did when she got her ass up and walked the fuck out because she wasn't happy, you can't praise Pac and hate on Sasha Banks because that speaks to your patriarchy and it speaks to your bigotry as well because she's a black woman doing the same thing, or she did the same thing because she just came back. So that's neither here nor there. But if I praise Pac for what he did, I praise Sasha for what she did, and anyone else who drew a line in the sand. They are independent contractors. They're not employees, so they got to treat themselves like independent contractors and get what they can get. But that's neither here nor there. Pac has been one of the most well-booked individuals since he left WWE. He now no longer has that Dragon Gate title, so he can lose matches now. I don't expect him to beat Kenny Omega, but I expect this to be a hell of a match. This is going to be the match that steals the show. And to be honest with you, this match has the potential to be one of the better matches of the second half of the year. When we turn around and we watch and we look back to the first year of All Out or AEW, this, I guarantee you, this is going to be the match of the year. I'm going to put my stake in the ground right now. Kenny Omega versus Pac is going to be the match of the year, and there's nothing that it will compete with it. I don't care about the Rhodes brothers versus the Young Bucks. Don't care about that. Don't care about the Lucha Bros versus the Young Bucks at All Out. Don't care about that. This match right here will be the one that steals the show and the one that is known as the match of the year for AEW. I'm calling it right now. And you can tell in my voice right now that I'm already more excited about this. I mean, to be honest with you, I wasn't really too excited about watching All Out. I almost had forgot it was next week, and I thought it was this week. But this match right here, anytime Pac competes, you got me hooked. I'm not going to say he's my favorite wrestler, but he's someone that I've garnered a lot of respect for over the last couple of years, especially with the way he's been treating himself and the way he's been making sure he gets booked and booked strongly as of late. So I'm here for this 110%, and I'm going to make sure my butt is in front of my computer or television. I don't know if I have an app for that yet. Whatever it may be, I'm watching this match. And I'm going to watch All Out just because of this match. So if Pac had some special promo code or whatever that I made sure, that can make sure he gets credit for my viewing, I would use it all day. Because the only reason why I'm more excited about watching All Out now is because of this Kenny Omega versus Pac match. So like I said, I wanted to keep today's show short. We've gone about 20 minutes. And I think I hit probably the two biggest news items of the week. So again, thank you for listening to our content here. You can catch me at rgarcia_sports. And you can see me there talking about everything from mixed martial arts, professional wrestling, football, social justice issues, and everything in between. You can follow MMA Ratings on Instagram and Twitter at MMA RatingsNet. You can catch us now, catch our podcast now on YouTube, catch us on Spotify, and catch us over on Anchor as well. Please be sure to, if you have a couple bucks to throw around and that you can donate, throw us a small donation. We'd appreciate that. We're trying to get some more things done on our platform, trying to build up our space. So I definitely appreciate that. There's opportunity there for us. So throw us a couple bones there as well too. But as always, thank you for taking the time to listen to our content. Please be sure to hit the like and subscribe button and then share this episode along with any of the other ones. But thank you again for listening to the Let's Talk Wrestling Podcast, episode 29. This is Raphael Garcia, and I will be back next week. Have a great day, everyone.